There is absolutely no silver bullet. There isn't. You can't go without doing the work. You have to be willing to do the work. And the reward from doing the work is better than anything you could have imagined. This week on the Rutledge Perspective podcast, I want to remind you that there is no silver bullet. In order to get what you want, you have to be willing to put in the work because there is no silver bullet. As I walked into this year of 2024, the end of 2023 was a bit tough for a couple of months there. And I walked into 2024 with this renewed excitement and this deep, deep sense of this is the year. And then it hit me later on, not until early February, that, well, this is like year 7 of my business. And all of these things that are happening in this area of 7, right? This divine number that are aligned with these feelings and sentiments that I have about truly standing strong and living into this purpose that I do believe has been put here for me. And when January happened and all of the debacle with the weather and all the things, I started to question, am I just hearing this wrong? Because, God's got to burn a bush for me. I do not read signs well. He has got to tell me, Laurel, here's what I need you to do. So all of those things started coming back again. And I'm like, maybe this isn't it. Maybe I'm wrong. And I thought, nope, Laurel, just be still. Be still. So I had the opportunity to do a couple of courses as I'm trying to move these things along, and it's year 7, and we're going to go get some more clients and serve the clients that I have with excellence and I love them, but it's time to get some more and add some more to the stable. So how are we going to do that? And reaching out to people for referrals, all the things. And slowly, as always happens, all these little dots begin to pop up that I finally start connecting. Because see, that's my zone of genius. I find dots and I connect them. Most of the time I'm seeing dots that people don't even know exist and I connect them. The difference is it's easy to do that for somebody else and it's really hard to do that for yourself when you're in your own mess. So I started seeing all these dots pop up. The first thing I did was do this 5-day challenge. Now I've done this challenge before and there are people who do it multiple times because it's a real great way to reset. And it's a challenge about really driving money into your business for big purposes. And so I redid the challenge and it was very interesting doing it this second time with the mindset that I have now than when I did it the very first time. And I met some really great people through this challenge that I've had some great conversations with and connected them to others and they've connected me to people. It was really, really great. Like it broke open some things for me in doing the challenge. At the same time, I decided to join a sales course with someone that I had also met through all of these systems that I've been doing lately. Because I know the last frontier for me is sales. Although my really good friend in Austin was like, you're a great salesperson. You just, because you're passionate about what you do, that's what sells. I'm like, ah. And so part of it is just the word sell and the fact that we all hate sleazy salespeople, that kind of thing. I know that's a big piece of it. But I decided to take the course because year 7, want to drive some more revenue in my business, want to be able to impact more people through my services. So in order to do that, you need more clients, which means you need to sell. People need to know what you're doing, all the things, right? So I'm taking this course from someone who is a phenomenal salesperson, but whose process and whose philosophy more aligns with me. And so I'm doing these two things at the same time. And as I'm doing them, there are a few things that are happening that I'm like, ooh, my gut just clenches. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. It's not aligned with who I am, right? I'm not going to say those words don't work for me. I'm not going to say those things like that. And I had to stop because there is no silver bullet. You got to do the work. So I'm like, Laurel, these are people who know what they're doing. Clearly, their businesses are much bigger than yours. These folks know what they're doing. You need to listen to them. You are a learner, so learn, do the work, do the homework. And at the same time, there was this gut clench that said, but if you do it the way they're doing it with their words, and then you show up as you've decimated trust because, see, you're not them, you're you. So, how do you take the process and use it like 95, 98%, but put your words in it, use your tone, use who you are authentically in the execution of this process that is proven to work? And I thought, oh, now that's a little bit of a revelation. I can do that. I can do that. And so I started doing it and met some more people and started having some more conversations. And it's actually broken open a few things for me that I didn't expect in terms of connecting and networking and, all the things I just hate to do, but but love impacting people and connecting others. As me connecting with folks, that's a challenge. And so this week I thought, there's this other thing that came through my email. And I'm like, no, Laurel, you're not. No, you're not doing one more thing. There's some other stuff you need to do. You need to get moving on this stuff that you've already done. And I'd been thinking over the weekend, when I look back, one of the pieces, y'all have heard my four, right? Faith, family, friends, and health. And that health is physical, financial, emotional, all the things, right? Psychological. And when I look back over the last 7 years, 6 years, when things don't go right, something is not working, right? Something in those four in my root system is off. And this thing came through my email and I thought, no, don't do one more thing. But the more I looked at it, I thought, but this is one of those things where you got to do the work. You got to do the work. And what you're looking for is not a silver bullet, but you're looking for some expert guidance that you can then put your secret sauce on to deliver. And what that meant is that we often come to things with our expertise and our desire for a quick turnaround, and we're looking for the fast solution. We're looking for the fast food restaurant of building a business. We're looking for the checklist and the guarantee that if you check these things off the box, we're going to guarantee you to make 6 figures in 2 days. And here's the reality. Are there people that do that? Absolutely, there are people that do that. Are there people who turn their businesses from zero to $1 million in 6 months? Absolutely, there are people who do that. They are few and far between, but it does happen. But what they don't tell you is all the other stuff they did in the background, and all they're telling you about is the 6 months. They're not telling you about the other work that they had to put in to make that 6 months occur. And so as I thought about this new thing that came up, I said, well, Laurel, is this another one of those things where you're just looking for the silver bullet? You're just looking for the switch to flip to say, oh, there it is. Now it's done. Everything's smooth sailing, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? Everything is smooth sailing. You got it. You found the formula. And I had to really force myself to pause. And in that pause was, Laurel, when you look at those four, faith, family, friends, and health, the thing in your health bucket that hasn't been happening in a long time is your continuous learning. Now, you've been doing some of that and reading and things because you like to bring new stuff to your clients. You don't like to show up not having kept up to date on what's going on. But the deep work, the deep learning that really gets you jazzed up, you haven't been doing a lot of that. Listening to those hidden brain podcasts that just fascinate you and then give you other people that you want to reach out to. Reading the books that give you some insight. Listening to the podcasts also that say, let me reframe that because that just got my attention. Because those things are the things that encourage me and drive me and uplift me and give me the energy to continue to show up for my clients and for you in this podcast, which I love doing. And so as I sat with that, I said, well, this thing that you're talking about doing, is this just another desire to have a silver bullet? Are you just looking for the one thing to flip the switch again? And the answer to that I came up with was no, because it's time to do the work. and I'm ready to do the work, I've been doing work, but it's ready to do really focused work. The other thing that came out of that was it is really important that we set intentions and understand what it is, in fact, that we want to do and what it is, in fact, that we bring to the table. What is your thing that you really want to do? And what are you bringing to the table to make that happen? And how can you be so strong and convicted in that thing that you want, the ultimate thing that you want, that the path to get there can vary? It can have side streets and it can be derailed for a minute and it can have all kinds of curves, but you're really clear on the destination and you can just roll with the flow of the path. How do you get so clear that even rolling with that flow enables you to seek out learning and experts and expertise that helps build you up and push you forward, as opposed to making you conform to something that's not you? How do you stay so strong in your conviction about what it is you are supposed to bring to the world, that that desire for a silver bullet to make it happen doesn't allow you or doesn't give you room to veer completely off the path because someone else said that was the thing you really should be doing? Like my friend Holly Dowling says, to keep us from shoulding on ourselves. How are you preparing yourself to not be so focused on finding that silver bullet, the quick fix, the easy bucks, that you can't appreciate and grab the learning from this hill that you're climbing? Because it is a climb to build a business. It's also a climb to build a career. There's no silver bullet to that either. You got to do the work. It's just that sometimes that work in career building is all about networking, depending on what company you're in. It's all about which project you're on. It's all about which executive knows who you are. It's all about making sure that that admin is your best friend because they're the gatekeeper to that executive. The silver bullet in that career doesn't work either. You have to do the work. You have to do the research on what do I need to do to make happen what I want to have happen. How do I sit with, is this really it? Because if this is it, this is the stuff that I'm going to have to do. And am I okay with that or not? In a space of no judgment. How do you get real comfortable that in doing the work, you're going to find a whole lot of things that you have no idea how to do? And you're going to find some things that you look at and say, I'm just not doing that by any stretch of the imagination. And in making that decision, understanding what the consequences are. Because it's different to say, I'm not doing that at all, and saying, ooh, I'm just not going to do it that way. That makes some sense, but doing it that way doesn't work for me. But doing it this other way that enables me to gather all of the good genius from someone else's expertise and then morph it to where it really looks and sounds and feels like me, that's genius. And that's not a silver bullet. That's doing the work. The example I will give you is in this one course about selling, which is phenomenal, if I do say so. I'm finding a lot out of it. The person talks about every connection is an opportunity to sell. And fundamentally, I don't disagree with that. Every connection is an opportunity to sell if you're in the business of selling something. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're in the business of selling whatever your business is, right? So every connection you make is an opportunity to sell. But every time I said that, my whole body just clenched. I had a visceral reaction to that. Why? Because it hit me as that sleazy sales. That LinkedIn person that drops into my DMs that says, "Oh my gosh, I really want to connect. Love your profile. Here, buy my thing." You don't know me. You haven't connected with me. We haven't even been in the same groups. You haven't made a comment on anything. You just want me to buy your stuff. And somehow there's some algorithm that I showed up on your list. It's probably not even you. It's an admin or an AI, something it's not even real, but it still irritated me. Right. So every time I heard that, I'm like, ooh, I'm already going to have to get over this hump of reaching out and connecting to people. Cause I'm an ambivert. I don't like idle chit chat. I want to connect just to connect. So there was that part. And then there was the other part that said, yeah, okay, I understand that every connection may be an opportunity to sell, but the reality is there's some people I want to connect with because I just think they're cool. I may never buy anything from them or them from me, but they're just cool people and I want to know them. I want to have a conversation because I'm curious. And so how do you reconcile that? And she was great, had a fantastic answer. And I still had to marinate on it. So that night I went to sleep, pondering it, praying about it, thinking about it. Got up the next morning and I said, thank you. It always happens in the middle of the night, y'all. That's why I say, sleep on it. I got to get clarity. My human design, I got to get clarity. And I said, I cannot in good conscience say every connection is an opportunity to sell. I can't. I can't even think that way because that energy shows up, right? What energy you go into the conversation with is the energy that shows up. And that just doesn't feel good to me. It feels out of integrity if I am going in pretending like I'm not trying to figure out how I can sell them something. But what is authentic to me is that every conversation is an opportunity to serve. And my services are an investment. Now, what that gives me an ability to do is stand in my authentic self as a servant leader and a desire to impact by serving others. And it also gives me the freedom to decide when I'm going to give my services away as opposed to charge for my services. It totally takes this person's process that says, you need to go out and connect with people. You need to go talk to people. And every connection is an opportunity to, every connection is an opportunity to serve. Because my service may be, oh, I know somebody you need to connect to. Ooh, I know this thing you need to do. Or it may be, I hear you. I am the chief navigation officer. I help women-owned businesses and those CEOs who are starting to be ready finally to move from founder doer to CEO leader. I help you connect your business strategy to your organization strategy so you can take that team that you've invested in and utilize them in a way that is moving the entire organization towards the goals. That's what I do. That's my genius, right? So I can easily go in and say, that's how I serve. That's how I serve. And if there's something that I hear in a conversation and it aligns, then I'm like, you know what? I could actually help you with that. Here's what I do. And because I'm in service, if I'm not the right person, my network is great. I can probably connect with them with someone else, and it's still in service. Every connection is an opportunity to serve. So I encourage you, based on what I've talked about so far, and then that last story about taking that learning that you get from somebody, their expertise, their genius, and turning it into how you execute for you. I want you to take away this week. One, there is absolutely no silver bullet. There isn't. And the ones that appear to be silver bullets at first have a whole lot of consequences to the tail end of that bullet. And second, you can't go without doing the work. You have to be willing to do the work. And the reward from doing the work is better than anything you could have imagined. I posted a few weeks ago, sometimes you have to let go of the amazing to make room for the unimaginable. When we hold on to things so tight, we don't make room for the things that are meant for us. So it is time to let go of your desire for that silver bullet. And I've got it too. I need to get back down to where I was before and another X number of pounds, right? It's time to get back on it. I'd love to have that silver bullet to just make that happen. And I also know that when I do the work, when I'm consistent in my workouts, when I'm consistent in my mobility, when I'm consistent around eating on a regular basis and not under eating, when I'm consistent about getting my water in, when I am doing the work, the body responds. So go into this week, determine what work it is that needs to be done, set that silver bullet aside just for a little bit, and decide that you are ready, willing, and able to do the work. And then let me know how that turned around for you. Because I'm telling you, there were some things that came up for me in the last couple of weeks that I never would have imagined because I just decided to do the work. Just do the work. That's all we can expect ourselves to do, right? Just do the work. And if you are a woman who is owning a professional services business and you have a team and you are trying to figure out what's next, you are showing up and you are grinded out, Greta. You invested in this team and you are still the first one there and the last one leaving at night. And I'm not talking about just that investment because it's your business. Of course, it's your business. You're going to do extra because it's yours. I'm talking about that extra you're doing that you shouldn't be doing because other folks are not doing what they should be doing. If that's you, if you're grinded out, Greta, or if you got that to-do list, Trudy, that is 400 miles long and hardly any of that is actually revenue generating, right? Or if you have just had it, Hannah, it is time to just do something different. Go to the link in my bio on Instagram. I'm at laurel.k.rutledge and sign up for a call. Let's get on the phone and figure out if this is the time for me to be able to serve you, to get you to that place where you are the visionary leader of that business that you have invested in to build, to make the impact you want to make. Click on the link and talk to me. You can also find that link on my LinkedIn page, Laurel-K-Rutledge. You can find it on my Facebook page. I've got the post pinned to the top of my page. That's at The Rutledge Perspective. I love serving women entrepreneurs that are building businesses that are making an impact. They are creating the cultures they wish they had been able to work for those who were in corporate. And I want to support you in creating that culture in your business so you can continue to make the impact you want to make on your family, on your life, on your community, on the world. Have a fantastic week. And I look forward to talking to many of you in the next coming days because it's year number 7. And in this year number 7, I am looking for 7 women in the month of March to do my one-on-one program. That's 3 months. And in that 3-month program, we are going to get you from that doer to that leader. In addition, because it's 7 years, for every program that is purchased in 2024, I am donating 7% of the program fee to charity. It will either be to Cancer Champions, I'm on the board, full disclosure, or the American Heart Association, or the National Education Association Foundation that gives fellowships and scholarships to teachers. And the person who buys the program can decide, or they can tell me to decide. But 7% of every paid program will be going to charity, will be donated to charity in this year, 2024, 7 years of business. So year 7 with Laurel. Thank you as always for tuning into the podcast. I so appreciate that. I know you have a choice, and I appreciate that you choose to spend some of your time listening to me. If you would, take 1 extra minute and head out to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or where you get your podcasts and go leave us a 5-star review. Send me a quick note and let me know what else you would like me to talk about. Thank you and have a great, great, great week. You got this. Just do the work. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Rutledge Perspective podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and for connecting. You can find previous episodes of the podcast on my website at laurelrutledge.com/podcast. You can also find me on social media at Laurel K. Rutledge and/or The Rutledge Perspective. And I'd love your perspective on the things we talk about. And if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, just let me know. And please share this podcast with someone in your village who may need this little piece of perspective today. And if you're so inclined, I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review on the platform of your choice. Apple Podcasts and Spotify reviews are particularly helpful. Thank you again for listening. Take care.